Hello, everybody. Welcome to another mini interview with another speaker. I'll have the pleasure of speaking to Michelle Worgan in a minute. You know that we are doing a pre-conference event on Monday, the 20th of April, before the big IATEFL conference begins on Tuesday, together with the Special Educational Needs and Inclusive Practices SIG. As young learners and teenagers SIG, we are putting together a very special event full of learning. And hello, Michelle.
Hello, lovely to
Good to
be
have
here.
you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a special thing, is it not? Because you're part of a SIG and you'll also be representing us and speaking at this special event. Why don't you begin by telling us a little bit about yourself, your interests for people that maybe don't know you yet?
Yep, okay. So my name is Michelle Worgan and I'm based in Spain. I'm the Joint Events Coordinator for the YLT SIG, and I'm a freelance materials writer for primary ELT in Spain and globally. So I work with different publishers on course books and other kinds of materials. And I'd say my main interests are active learning approaches, so inquiry-based learning, project-based learning, learner independence and autonomy, um, and also inclusive practices. And this is one of the reasons why I'm really excited, and I'm so happy that we're holding this joint PCE with IP&SEN, with Inclusive Practices and Special Educational Needs SIG, because I think it's essential that teachers have the strategies and the awareness to ensure that their classroom is a welcoming place and a safe place for all their students to learn. And I think that's what we're going to be doing in this PCE in April. Yes,
So let's
basically
say
that's it.
that the PCE is going to be called YLT Inclusivity Bootcamp. That is going to be a hybrid
Yes.
event. So either for people attending in Brighton, if they can arrive a day earlier to join us there in person, or they can choose to sign up to attend online. And your talk specifically called No More Tears. Emotional regulation in the inclusive YL classroom. Now, we don't want any spoilers, but just to whet our appetite, what does this mean to you? Why do you think it's important in terms of inclusion with young learners?
Well, first of all, I will say that I stole the title from Johnson and Johnson's baby shampoo, which I don't know if
Oh,
anybody remembers
right.
this. Johnson and
I do.
Johnson's baby shampoo had a slogan, or at least when I was growing up, when I was little in the early 80s, I guess, it was no more tears because it supposedly, if it got into your eyes, it didn't, make you cry. It was very mild, a mild shampoo. Um, so I did steal that. I'm sure that's fine. Um, Last year at IATEFL, I spoke about teaching introverts in my session, teaching the quiet ones, which I actually did for the IP&SEN showcase last year. And in that talk, I touched on something else, which was hypersensitivity. And I wanted to explore that in more detail, but it's quite a big topic. And for a 30-minute IATEFL session, usually the 30 minutes, 45 minutes, it's quite a big topic. So I decided to focus on emotional sensitivity and how some of our students can be more sensitive than others, and also how the ability or the lack of ability to control and manage your emotions can impact what happens in the classroom. And that's both for the teacher and for the students. And it's something that I actually struggle with myself. Maybe I didn't learn these crucial skills at the right time of my life when I was growing up. We didn't work on these things. And so perhaps I didn't develop them as well as some other people. And so I realized that it's something that as teachers we can work on with our students so we can help our students develop these skills. I think it's important because if our students are not in the right frame of mind, learning isn't going to happen. If our students are angry or frustrated or upset, they're not going to learn. So we need to provide the right atmosphere, the right culture in our classrooms, and help our students develop these social and emotional skills, I guess, and create the right conditions for learning. So that's why I chose this topic because I think it's really important and something that maybe I don't know, you don't seem to see a lot of talks or a lot of professional development in this area. We do see a lot on SEL, SEL, on social and emotional learning, which is those 5 areas that CASEL developed: self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision making, relationship skills. I don't remember all of them. I'm not going to be looking at those so much. I'm going to be focusing more on the self-management area and practical strategies for teachers and students, with a special focus on highly sensitive and neurodivergent learners and teachers, I'd say, as well. It's not just about the learners, it's about teachers too. So basically, providing suggestions on how we can reduce the overwhelm for highly sensitive students, shy and introverted students, like the ones I talked about last year, and neurodivergent learners, and give them tools to help them manage their emotions in the classroom, basically.
How
So I don't think
interesting. You
I've
should
given any
mention.
spoilers, but
No, very
more or less
interesting.
an
And
overview.
you made me think also because I've already spoken to Bulo about his talk, and apart from the PCE talk, then he's going to give another one as part of the big program, and he's going to be focusing on teachers rather than students who are neurodivergent. So you reminded me of that link as well. No, very interesting. So should we expect like a little bit of theory, but mostly practical ideas in terms of how to help students that have any kind of special sensitivity and how to work with them?
Yes, I think there always has to be a little bit of background theory or information. But yes, I want to focus more on the practicalities because people can go read theory elsewhere. And I think in a session we need to focus on strategies and tips and tools that teachers can develop, or they can get their students to develop as well. Now, I think I've not really planned all of the finer details yet. Still have a bit of time, but yeah, that's the plan.
But I did like very much this idea. I tried to do that myself too. Something that it's not that you are necessarily, well, not an expert, but you said, well, you're also doing work that helps you. It's also areas that you're concerned about, and that you're all always maybe thinking about how to improve them yourself. And because this is never easy, particularly when we've got large classes, to be looking at each individual student is really a challenge, no matter how experienced you are.
Yeah, what you said also about teachers now, about Bulo also talking about teachers, we forget that teachers, including ourselves, we also have different needs, and we need to learn about ourselves. And, we don't always have a great amount of self-awareness. And then, so it starts with that, now thinking about, okay, maybe I can do things differently in the classroom as well as teaching my students. I can also learn. So yeah, so I'll try to include something for teachers as well as students, I think.
I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot. I'm always thinking that I need to learn more about self-regulation for myself. So it's likely to be very, very useful. Anything else you'd like to share about the PCE, because you're also, part of the organizing committee, or anything else about the conference?
Yes, well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the final session that we're going to have at the end of the day, which is, I think we've called it the inclusive, no, what was it again? It's called the Inclusive Bootcamp Lab. You might have to cut that bit out. The Inclusive Bootcamp Lab. That's what it's called. Yeah, I'm really excited about the Bootcamp Lab. I've been organising small events for quite a few years locally, and I always try to be a bit more innovative with the format of professional development sessions. And something that I found works really well is having workstations for practical activities so that teachers or participants can go around different stations and do different things. And this is something that crosses over from the classroom. No? So when we're talking about using active learning methodologies, we often have workstations or different tables in the classroom with different activities for students. And we can do the same thing with teacher development. So we decided to have this practical session called the Bootcamp Lab. Um, and we're going to have a set of tables or areas in the room, I think, where each speaker is going to plan something practical for participants to do, where they can put into practice what they've learned during the day. And it'll allow participants to take something away with them. No, so maybe something they can use in the classroom or something to help them plan their lessons. So I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really cool, and I can't wait for that as well. I think it's going to be great. I don't know how you feel about that, Leandro. Is it
I love
something?
your idea. I love your idea that we should be consistent and that if we are thinking about active learning for our students, then when we stand in front of teachers, that we should also try and put them in a place where the audience can not just be listening and not just being talked at, but we'll do our best so that every speaker in their own talk provides elements of active learning. And then I love it that you have this idea of closing the day with the workstations and a possibility to actually sort of get our hands dirty and really seeing what it all means, having heard five different talks, is it, for this the final slot rather than a panel, to listen again, to turn tables around and make sure that the teachers are as active as they've been throughout the day. I just love that.
Yeah, I mean, I think panels are interesting and debates and things like that. They're interesting, informative, not so interactive generally. And I do think it's nice to have something that's a bit more interactive and practical. Um, these conferences are quite it's long. It's a few days, isn't it? IATEFL. We're going to be sitting listening to people for a lot of it. So I think, if we can have a few sessions here and there that are a bit more practical and active, then that's always going to be a benefit.
I love it. I'm sure everybody listening is feeling like they want to join, whether in person or online on Monday, the 20th of April.
Yeah, I will say that for the hybrid element, it might be a little bit more difficult. We're going to have to think about that because obviously it's not the same being in the room as
Of course.
connecting from online, but we will figure something out.
Lovely. Any final thought, any final word, anything you would like to close our conversation with?
Yeah, a couple of things. I should probably mention that if you're a member of the SIG, the videos from our webcon will be available soon if they're not already there on the members in the members area on the IATFA website. Depending on when this goes out, they might still be on YouTube. I'm not sure about that. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that before I talked about my session from last year's IATEFL, which is teaching the quiet ones, and I'm going to be giving that session again soon. In case anybody's interested, I'm going to be giving it at the EduCast online conference in February. So that's online. So wherever you are in the world, you could connect to that. You can sign up for that. It's going to be a whole week, I think, this year, the EduCast conference. And I'm also doing it at TESOL Spain face to face in March, in case we've got any people from Spain here watching.
That's lovely. I'm going to steal your phrase and I'm going to say wherever in the world you may be is a phrase that applies then to our pre-conference event on Monday, the 20th of April. If you can't make it to Brighton for the in-person conference, then we hope to see you online on that Monday to hear the five wonderful speakers that I am interviewing these days, plus that practical wrap up that we're going to have, the lab that we're going to close the day with, which, as you say, Michelle, we are supposed to be resourceful teachers, so we're going to use that resourcefulness also to seeing how we can make that final session interactive for people attending the PCE online as well. So, Michelle, thank you very much for your time, and I will see you, if not earlier, in person for sure in April in Brighton.
Yeah. See you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for your time.